Hello and welcome back everyone. Andy Bryan here again from The Soul Pathway. And today within this video I wanted to speak with you all about the victim, abuser and your journey to recovery, so that you're not re-experiencing the pain and abuse at which you've gone through within your life, so that you can learn to heal, grow and love yourself. But more importantly, so that you can step into who you are from that place of courage and strength. Because when you find yourself as that victim and you connect with that victim mentality, then you can feel this lack of strength within yourself, which can cause you to attract more abuse within your life. Now, what I will say is that each and every one of us is not attracting abuse. If you've been through, some form of abuse in your life, it doesn't mean that you've attracted it to you. But in some ways, with regards to the energy that you hold and you present outwardly to the world, you allow others to treat you with a sense of disrespect. Now, I'm going to be speaking with you about this in much more detail throughout this video, but what I will say is that it doesn't matter whether it's physical abuse, emotional abuse, or even spiritual abuse. This can be incredibly detrimental to your health and well-being, and really for you to honour who you are. And I believe we all have a journey at which we go on. And if you are very much like myself, you're very much connected with the archetype of the caregiver. The caregiver is someone who is very sensitive, and you could be a highly sensitive being, but they give that unconditional love, care and support to those people around them. That is absolutely beautiful, and I think that's an admirable trait for each and every one of us. So if you are connecting with the archetype of the caregiver who gives that unconditional love, that is absolutely beautiful, but it can also be at a detriment to yourself. So let me speak about this in more detail. When you are the victim, as I've mentioned, you can hold a certain energy about yourself. So you've experienced pain, neglect or abuse in your life in some way or form. If it's you as a child, it could mean that you've held an energy of innocence, and the innocence is taken away from you through that neglect. You don't have that power and strength within you, because as a child, your role isn't to protect yourself. That's the role of the parents and those people looking after you to protect you. So if you've gone through abuse at a very, very young age, then it's generally down to the fact that you haven't had that parental support, to protect you when you were vulnerable. Now, in later phases in life, you as the victim can hold an energy of giving that unconditional love out. Maybe because you've experienced some form of pain and neglect in your life, maybe going back to your childhood, and you want to give that love out to the world. But if you are seen as giving that love out unconditionally, it can often be seen as a weakness. It doesn't mean you're weak at all. Often it can mean that you hold a lot of strength within you. But this can be perceived as a weakness for others around you, which is where it's essential for you to really connect with, where that wound is, with regards to you needing to give that love so much outwardly, where you're not loving, honouring and appreciating yourself. Because I'm a personal believer, and this may sound a bit strange, but love must start with you first. As you begin to love yourself first and truly embrace that unconditional love of self, then you can truly love another. But when you step into that place of unconditional love of self, this is whereby you set healthy boundaries. You notice the importance of giving and receiving in love, and that's, you put these boundaries in place so that if people aren't giving you the love in return that you give to them, maybe it's important for you to set that space aside so that you're loving and caring for yourself and not being at a detriment to who you are. But what I wanted to do is also go through some of the archetypes here, because I love to speak about archetypes a lot, and this can really explain, our journey with regards to your growth and development, and more importantly, your healing as it comes to recovery, so that you are, you're healing, you're growing, and you're not perpetuating those repeated cycles. Because I know many people have said that if you don't heal those wounds within, you will often create situations in your life, but with different people playing different roles. So an abuser might be someone who wasn't your previous abuser, but a new abuser, because you haven't healed that wound within yourself. So let me first speak about the caregiver, which I was talking with you about before. And this is the one that gives the unconditional love and care. So let me share that with you now. So the caregiver likes to give without recognition and receiving in return. The goal of the caregiver is to help others and to make a difference through love and sacrifice. Now, we want to give love, but at the same time, it cannot be at a sacrifice to yourself. So if we look at the first layer of consciousness here, within, the aspect of the caregiver, you have the conflict between your own needs and those of others, a tendency to sacrifice your own needs to what others need or want from you, and there you go about rescuing. Now, I wanted to speak with you about some of the shadow aspects that come into play here, because your shadow, with regards to the caregiver, is where you can become the suffering martyr to situations in your life. You can then go into guilt-tripping behaviours or guilt-ridden behaviours, and you enable others to mistreat you. They've got irresponsibility or narcissism, and in many ways this is what I wanted to speak with you about as well. So you're giving that unconditional love and care to those around you, so much so that they're often not recognizing that love at which you give. So that can bring about this irresponsible behavior within them, and that act of narcissism. I'm grandiose. I am this all amazing individual, and I have some sort of power over this loving caregiver who will do whatever they want for me, whereas I don't even need to worry about it myself. So there's acts of narcissism in there and irresponsibility if you choose to act so much out of that loving caregiver. And I know many people that have operated out of this space. And however much this is difficult and challenging, it's a beautiful trait for you to give this unconditional love. But as I've mentioned, don't let it be at a detriment to yourself, because you will become a suffering martyr to those situations. You will bring about that pain, abuse, and neglect if you constantly give out that love in such a strong way and you're not allowing it to be received at the same time. So it's really essential for you to notice that. Because then what I want to speak with you about is the orphan. Because the orphan, from my perspective, is often where narcissism is born. The narcissism could be born within the archetype of the orphan, who experiences that neglect and abuse from a young age. But let me share that with you here as well, as we look at what the orphan is all about and some of the shadow aspects of the orphan as well. Okay? So orphans are children who are deprived of parental protection and nurture while too young and skilled to take care of themselves. Like I've mentioned to you before, when I started this video, we spoke about children being abused at a young age. They have become orphaned because they haven't had that parental protection that is there to, support them and give them love. Perhaps the parent may die, literally abandoning the child, or remain on the scene but neglect, victimise or abuse the child. So that is really, really essential for you to look at. And when you've experienced a lot of pain and abuse as a child, there is no doubt that this will go to the core of your being. And it breaks my heart to see children that have suffered in this way. It truly does. But sometimes I have found that those people that have gone through this extreme abuse or neglect, they can shift their behaviours as they grow older to becoming narcissists in some way or form. But what I will say is that that is not all of you. But let me tell you why I believe this to be so before you may judge me for that statement. But when you've been through a lot of neglect and abuse, especially as children, and those people that you are supposed to place your trust in have completely destroyed that, so you've got that lack of trust and faith in other people. Those people that were there to protect you the most have completely neglected you. And so what do? You don't know who to trust. You don't know who to turn to, which is often where the manipulative behaviour from narcissists can come into play. Because if you are experiencing that pain and you've got that lack of trust, then you can turn to manipulate situations within your life in order to gain trust, because you don't feel like you can trust anybody. So in many ways, some people who are very narcissistic and got some of these traits can, become like this as they grow older, through manipulation, because they want to have that trust within other people. They want people to love and care for them. And so often they can play the victim to circumstances and situations within their own life. But what I will say also is that this isn't all of you. This isn't all of you who have experienced neglect and abuse as a child. Because I've personally found that some people, really go to the depth of that pain and look at healing it. And I know that it's incredibly challenging. But I also personally believe, and I've said this in many videos, that your shadow is the way to the light. And it's a way to truly love, honour and appreciate yourself. You've got to look at those wounded aspects of yourself, those experiences of pain and neglect, so that you can break free from those shackles that have been placed upon you, and so that you can begin to love yourself once more. Okay, so that is really essential. But let me share with you more information about the archetype of the orphan here. The first level of consciousness is learning to understand the truth of one's plight and feel the pain of abandonment and victimization, powerlessness, and the loss of faith in people and institutions. Like I said, if you have been the orphan within your own life, maybe you've been neglected and abused at an older age, and you have lost complete faith in humanity and within people. Your goal is really to connect with that pain, connect with that feeling inside that causes you to feel that neglect and abuse. Notice where it comes from. Connect with your inner child and begin to love him or her once again. Because it's essential for you to notice that there are people on your journey that can assist you with your healing. There are people on your journey who you can trust and place your faith in. but it's in the knowing that you have to first allow yourself to go there first and connect with the people around you that do bring you that love. But allow yourself to go there slowly, and this is where we've got some of the shadow aspects of the orphan as well, which can breed narcissism in some ways. So here we've got the shadow aspect, which is cynicism, callousism, masochism, sadism, and using the victim role to manipulate the environment. Now, as I've said, this is where narcissism is born, because if you're not embracing those wounds, and you're not connecting with those shadow aspects of that pain and neglect within, then you can begin to act out of your shadow. So your journey of recovery is really learning to accept your own healing, and notice those wounds within so that you can grow, evolve and transcend on your journey. But it's all about consciousness and being conscious of how you show up within the different situations of your life. Okay, because the second layer of consciousness of the orphan archetype is accepting the need for help and be willing to be rescued and aided by others. And this can be a challenge for all of us. In society we're taught to be that warrior who goes out to fight and get to what they want in life. And when you're the warrior, you're taught to not show emotions or feelings. And this can be a real detriment to the orphan, because if you're not honouring your emotions and feelings and you're neglecting them, then your aspects of shadow can really show up in your life and be exposed, so that you can begin acting out of them. And one thing that I wanted to share with you was a post I shared on social media the other day, which is, for me, it's important to share because so many of us who experience pain, neglect or abuse in our lives, often we go through that because we are that loving caregiver, but because we are highly sensitive beings who are very kind and loving to others. So let me share with you that post I wrote. One thing people need to understand about extremely kind, nice and loving people is that their other side is just as extreme. It is the hell that they survive that makes them gentle. Don't mistake their self-control for weakness. The beast in them is sleeping, it's not dead. And I personally connect with this myself when I've experienced a lot of abuse within my life and you've gone through, deep emotions and feeling very sensitive, about, my experiences. The only way that I grew from it was in many ways to embody that warrior. So the archetype of the warrior is where you begin to stand up for what is right and true for you, with that courage and strength. Put on that suit of armour, but also honour your emotions and feelings, so that when you begin to embody that strength and courage, you've got sort of like this force field around you that protects you, that tells other people that you won't take any form of abuse in your life, that you are worthy of love and care just like everyone else. So that your journey of recovery in many ways is all about, first of all, acknowledging those wounds and connecting with your shadow. And only connect with your shadow at your own pace. Like going into a lake, let's say, as you take that first dip in the water, and as you go further and further, then you can jump right in. But if you jump right into your shadow, then it can cause you to experience more of that pain at which you're going through. So that you need to take it one step at a time. But also noticing how you're showing up as that caregiver in your life. Are you giving too much love and care to others and you're not honouring that love within yourself? Then you need to rise in love of self, not neglect who you are, but also allow the embodiment of the warrior to come through so that you can stand in your power, stand in your strength, and acknowledge who you are. This is who I am, and this is the way I live my life. And you don't need to explain yourself to other people. Your decisions, may frustrate and annoy people because you choose to set boundaries that may affect other people's lives. But the most important thing is your life, and that you're loving and respecting yourself. And then it's all about forgiving yourself. So self-love is all about forgiving. And you can forgive yourself for all the experiences of which you've gone through so that you can let go and step into the beauty of who you are. And this is about the unconditional love of self. And your journey to recovery may be difficult and challenging. I know that to be true. But it is a journey worth going on. What I will say is, if you found this video to be valuable and you would like to find out more about archetypes and how they can assist you on your journey of raising your consciousness and awareness and healing those wounds within, please be sure to take a look at my Archetypes for Life course on Udemy. I'll provide a link below this video. I've also got another course on Udemy called Honouring and Healing Your Shadow, where we look at healing your wounds within and taking a loving approach to doing that. You can also find out more about that below this video. What I will say is thank you again for connecting with this video. I do hope you found it to be valuable, and these are just my personal insights. And with that, I will say take care, much love, and I do look forward to connecting with you in another video again very soon. Bye for now.
Awaken your soul pathway and shift from self to soul. Download our free app on the Google Play Store, where you can disconnect from your mind in order to reconnect with your soul as you awaken to your spiritual journey and connect with your soul from within. Learn from one of our many courses available on Udemy. We have our Archetypes for Life program, where you can connect with your inner world in order to transform your outer world. We also have your Awaken Your Inner Warrior course, where you can learn how to balance your masculine and feminine within. You can even take the journey of divine love to embrace your soulmate or twin flame. Or you can honour and heal your shadow as you shift it from darkness to light. Gain deeper insights from Spirit as you connect with your soul and awaken your soul pathway with our Soul Pathway Oracle cards. Visit www.thesoulpathway.com for more information.